Welcome to Monaco. Welcome to our first ever video of an Ocean King yacht, and welcome on board VAYUS. And this is a video I've really been looking forward to filming. The yacht was actually on display just a few days ago at the Monaco Yacht Show. So I came on board to take a look and to make a few notes for this video. And to my surprise, I was introduced to the owner of the yacht and the family that owned the yacht. And the information they were able to give to me added so much value to the information that I can give to you. But not only that, in my opinion, it adds value to the actual yacht. And I'll explain why I say that at the end of this video. First of all, let me tell you that the shipyard that built this is a shipyard that's a major supplier of hulls to a lot of the well-known Italian shipyards. They use them because they're some of the best in the business at steelwork in building hulls. It's 36 meters long, just over, 8.5 meter beam, steel hull, aluminium superstructure, impressive range. So in this video, what I want to do is start by showing you the guest areas on board. We're then going to move on to all of the crew areas, finish with the technical spaces, particularly the engine room, and then I've got a few words to say to you at the very end. But let's start with the guest areas, because this, for me, is absolutely glorious. We arrived by we got a tender from the yacht club to come here, and as you arrive at the yacht, you get such a feeling of occasion, such a feeling of being about to see something truly impressive. This plunge pool here, with its transparent back to it, cuts such a beautiful figure. Actually, as we arrived, the owners, or one of the owners' family, has got their suitcases ready to leave and to go back to the yacht club. And you could just see from the smiles on their face the joy that they've had from being on board for a few days. And how could you not be joyful in such a beautiful area as this? Moving forward, and of course we get into the guest internal area, and as you see, I could just walk through there without the usual thing of having to wait for a sensor to open the doors, or having to wait to find a switch to press for the doors to open. And that's because those aft doors concertina open completely, so that you can just sit here and enjoy being in the open air. And it's not just on the aft section, but also look at the sides, those huge sliding doors. And let me tell you, they're beautifully made. I've been on yachts before where when we're in the way in navigation, they tend to rattle a little bit. No rattling here whatsoever. And I won't forget at all when one of the family was showing me a little bit at the yacht, he sat down exactly like this and he said, I sit here and I just enjoy the ocean. And I wish there was something I could do on YouTube where you could enjoy the view that I'm enjoying now. It is fantastic. We have lovely fresh air coming in, an incredible view all around. The design of this yacht is absolutely glorious, and it's all about enjoying the ocean. Now, in a few moments, I'll let the pictures do the talking so that you can enjoy the appointment of this area and how well put together it is, and in my opinion, really beautifully tasteful interior design as well. But when you're buying a yacht, you're not just interested in the interior design, you're interested in the build quality too. We're going to come to that in a few moments. First though, let's move a little bit further forward. And as we move forward, we have this beautiful lobby area here where obviously you can go up to the Sky Lounge, which is pretty impressive, down to the guest accommodation. Very nicely proportioned day head here, and worth noting there's a day head on both of these decks. And then we come into the owner's stateroom, which I absolutely love for many reasons. I really like the appointment of the walk-in closet. I just think it looks extremely elegant, extremely sophisticated, and it's a good size too, so it's practical. There's this lovely area here that you can just sit and do a little bit of work with just the most gorgeous view from these large windows. And the large windows carry on into the stateroom itself, where you can just get a feeling of space. And this is something that the owner said to me. He said he didn't want this to be cluttered. It would have been easy to have put perhaps another desk there, a chaise longue there. It starts to get a little bit too busy. I like this feeling of space and simplicity and openness, and above all of light absolutely gushing in. Of course, when it's time to sleep, there are blinds that come down. You can completely make this area dark. And then this absolutely sumptuous and magnificent master bathroom with the interconnecting shower. So what about your guests on board? I can tell you right now that they won't be disappointed either. Let's take a little look at the guest accommodation. I talk about this a lot in various videos, that the division of space on a yacht is so important, to find the right amount of space for each area. And often the answer is not doing anything too complicated, but keeping it simple. And that's certainly the case here. If you look at the size of this central corridor, it's perfect, it's comfortable. And then taking a look, first of all, at the two twin cabins. There's two identical twin cabins here. There's absolutely nothing cramped about this. Again, it's simple, a nice sized window. There's a place here to put your books or whatever you'd like to have at the side when you're asleep. Those single beds are wide enough, long enough for just about anybody. And of course, you've got a lovely ensuite bathroom for each one of these twin cabins. But let's take a look at the double cabins too. Again, elegant, sophisticated, a place that any one of your guests will be delighted to wake up at in the morning. Really large screen, flat screen television. I mean, you'll laugh when I say flat screen because I don't think any other sort of television exists these days. But I remember when I was first in the yachting industry, a lot of owners and crew used to complain that the televisions were too small for the cabins. That's perfect. That's a great size. With, of course, also a lot of hanging closet space as well. These are just beautifully appointed cabins, and in a little bit I'll get onto the point as to why that's impressive, because actually this shipyard is still fairly new to the luxury yachting industry, but what I'm looking at here is better than many yachts from builders who've been going for 20 or 30 years. Let's take a look now up to the next deck. Actually, as I walk up these steps, it's worth mentioning little features like this as well. This beautiful piece of marble which actually goes through both decks and just makes a nice feature on the stairway coming up. I mean, I have a big connection with Italy. I lived there, as many of you know, for many, many years. I love Italy, and it's that kind of thing which really is the best of Italian design. Everything is so simple, so beautifully done, and then you have this lovely splash of natural colour in the form of the marble. The Italians are so good at doing that. I mentioned earlier that both decks have day heads. The day head on this deck is here, but just have a look through here how unusual this is. I did not expect this. So this is basically all deck space, but as you can see, there's concertina doors that can actually close it off, so you can have the air conditioner or even heating if you want to here. But on a day like today, which is a beautiful day in Monaco, it's not too hot, it's not at all cold, it's sunshiny, it's glorious to have that feeling of being out in the open air when actually you're in an area that can be enclosed is magnificent. I don't think I've seen this done with a yacht before. And what's especially cool here is in the evenings when you're enjoying some company with friends, there's a cinema screen that slides down there so you can even watch a movie with your friends. Moving further aft, you have a lot of deck space here. Big table, big enough for yourself and all of your guests to be able to sit around eating. A lovely little lounge area here too. Again, this is one of those moments where it's just better if I let the images do the talking, and I'll move on to the Sundeck. a Sundeck it is. It's spacious, it's got everything you could possibly want. This large bar here with the bar stools. You even have another hot tub up here, a seating area and the shade. When I'm on these yachts though, I'm particularly looking at the quality, because this particular yacht, as I mentioned earlier, it's a steel hull, aluminium superstructure, and an aluminium hardtop as well. Now sometimes you get a little bit of cracks where the hardtop is joined. Here I can't see anything like that at all. It's absolutely beautifully finished. I really like these glass panels in the hardtop. Sometimes you get canvas which can retract as well, but with time the canvas gets dirty, it can start to sag. I much prefer this kind of a solution which lets the light in, but always looks fairly clean and tidy as well. Just absolutely fantastic yacht. So fantastic that after I'd seen it for the first time, I started to think I need to go to the shipyard and actually show you where they build these things, because it's very, very impressive. Now though, let's take a look at the crew quarters, something that I know that just about every viewer of this YouTube channel is interested in. And well, let me know what you think. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. We'll start with the bridge. The bridge too is just perfectly designed. Everything is so easily accessible for the captain. This has the option for him to stand, which a lot of captains prefer to do, or be seated. Everything's dark, so you're not going to get reflection of things. There's still space for guests to be able to sit here and enjoy watching the action. And they've even fitted the captain's cabin just after the bridge, which, if you speak to captains of yachts, I think a lot of them prefer to be close to the bridge, even when they're sleeping at night. But I wanted to point out something to you as well from the outside. So here we have a Portuguese bridge, which is this little corridor here with direct access to the bow. And of course you can see there's a seating area there. Not a particularly big one, but absolutely ample if you want a little bit of privacy. But the thing that I found interesting was here, first of all, this reverse raked windscreen, which is a very industrial, professional way of doing things. You avoid having too much reflection, but also in harsh weather, that is the recommended angle for a windshield on a yacht. But that's not what I wanted to point out to you. I wanted to point out how far forward the whole superstructure is. When we arrived at the yacht, I thought it was very elegant, but almost has like an aggressive profile to it, like it's jumping forward onto the waves. But from a practical perspective, by moving the whole superstructure as far forward as you practically can, it releases all of that amazing deck space aft. And the owner of this yacht basically said that's what we wanted. We wanted big deck space aft, which we use. We use the plunge pool on the main deck. We enjoy being able to have that lovely terrace with the movie theatre as well on the upper aft deck. Very, very clever design, very intelligent design. Rather than trying to make too many separate spaces, you've got those lovely, luxurious, sweeping aft decks at the aft part of the yacht. Let's take a look next at the galley and then the crew quarters. So of course you can access the galley from the inside of the yacht or from the outside. Generally speaking, most yachts are arranged so that crew areas and the crew flow can be separate to that of the guests. But I particularly wanted to mention the galley to you because the owner made an interesting comment to me. And that was that when they were designing the yacht and having it built, he wanted the chef to be very involved with the design of the galley. So you can see that the equipment is top notch. I mentioned Rational ovens before. They're supposed to be the absolute best. The fact that we've got stainless steel finishing, just like you would in a professional restaurant of a large restaurant. Plenty of fridge, freezer space as well. And apart from the fact that that makes for a good galley, it also tells a story about the yacht itself. There are owners who buy another yacht, and there are owners who build their next yacht. And this is very much of the latter category. This is a family of owners who wanted this yacht built to the very best standards that they possibly could, and built in a way that they as a family would really enjoy using it. And the Galley is just an example of how they did that. And by the way, if you're watching this video, and even if you're not interested in buying this specific yacht, but if you're building a yacht, that's excellent advice to get your crew involved as early as possible. Get the captain talking to you about what he wants on the bridge, where the wing station should be. Get your chef involved with designing the galley. Get your chief engineer talking about the engine room layout. The quicker that you can get a good crew involved, the better the yacht will be. We'll come back to that idea in a little bit, but first let's take a look at the crew quarters. So when I do a tour of a yacht for the first time, sometimes there are wow factor moments and sometimes there are oh my goodness moments. The aft deck of VAYUS for me was quite a wow factor. I love that plunge pool. I love the way the name of the yacht was in chrome on the back of the plunge pool, and the actual aft deck I thought was a real wow factor moment, as was the main salon. This was an oh my goodness factor because I didn't expect it to be quite as big as this for the crew quarters. It's a very nicely proportioned crew mess, but the cabins as well are really good sizes. Of course, they've all got their own bathrooms too, but the size of them is really impressive, and they've still also be able to fit in on the port side a decent sized laundry room with 2 washers, 2 dryers. On the starboard side, that's actually a cold room, which is very useful to have on a yacht, especially if you're into healthy eating and you want to have fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. That's all dedicated to that. This is a very, very impressive, very well laid out yacht and very well built yacht indeed. And on that topic of the construction quality, that segues nicely into the engine room. Recently, I've been too lazy to walk all the way to the engine room. I've been using a special effect. And this really is the only part of the yacht where you have a hint at the industrial, commercial heritage of the shipyard that built her. Because here you could be in a ship's engine room. The finishing, which is so rugged, the metal plating, the layout of it, it's really actually, for somebody who's into engineering, quite impressive to take a look at. You've got a workbench here. Rather unusually, the 2 generators are installed down the center line of the yacht, and you've got the 2 engines a little bit further outboard. Very, very impressively done indeed. Everything is so easily accessible, so easy to keep maintained. Now, the yacht itself has a 55,000 litre fuel tank. The owner was telling me that around 10.5 knots, you're looking at a consumption of around about 100 litres an hour. That depends upon, obviously, the sea conditions, if you're towing a chase boat, the load on board. But that's good economy as far as fuel consumption goes. And it gives you a range which is way beyond being transatlantic. I mean, you can very, very, very easily travel across the Atlantic with this yacht in comfort, in safety, knowing that you've got the range to do it. And I like the simplicity as well. I was talking again with the owner about this. I like the idea of just having 2 engines, shafts and propellers. There's a lot of other options out there now with hybrid technology. There's all kinds of things that you can do with yachts, but simplicity is often a good thing. They're also telling me that the lack of vibration, the lack of noise on board. I mean, now we're in the engine room, so you can hear the noise. But when I was filming on board, you hear nothing. It's absolute silence. This is a very, very impressive yacht. A very impressive yacht because it's built the way that a yacht should be built, ideally by a shipyard that's extremely capable of building even big commercial rugged ships, but with the involvement of an owner and their family who were really concerned to have a yacht that was curated. And actually, I really hope I've done justice to the walkthrough that the owner gave me of the yacht. He told me as well about the amount of effort they put into the AV equipment, especially for that home cinema down there. And he gave me an example. He turned up the volume. It was indeed very, very powerful, very clear, very high quality AV equipment too. That costs money, but if you enjoy that kind of thing on a yacht, it's really, really important. I worked for a yacht builder for many years before I became a yacht broker, and I saw the difference that it would make when an owner gets involved with the construction of the yacht. At the beginning of this video, I said that I believe it adds value to the yacht itself, and I think it's absolutely without argument true that when you have people involved with the construction who really care about it because it's for them and for their family, it just pushes the shipyard to build something of an even higher quality than they normally would do. And that is what VAYUS is. It is a magnificent testimony to the work of the Ocean King shipyard, and an absolutely great yacht to be able to own. So if you are in the market for something like this, I would urge you to get in contact with my friend and my colleague, Gabriele.modica, who represents the owner and who can give you all of the extra information that you require.